So, you did it. You passed one of the toughest exams out there. CA, CS, CMA, you name it. First off, a huge congratulations. Seriously, that's amazing. But after the party, what's next? Today, we're going to talk about that big pivot from being a top student to actually creating value in the corporate world.
I mean, you've spent years grinding, you've sacrificed, and you finally got that qualification in your hands. But the big question really is, what happens now? What does day one in the professional world actually look like?
And look, after all that blood, sweat, and tears, it's totally natural to have some big expectations. You've earned them, right? You're probably picturing it now. Landing a fantastic job, getting a salary that makes all that hard work feel worth it, and of course, getting that respect that comes with a top-tier qualification. And you are absolutely right to expect all of that.
But here's the thing. For a lot of newly qualified pros, you step into that corporate office and the reality can be, well, a little bit different than you imagined.
First, you get the interview rejections. And after being at the top of your game academically, that can be a real shock to the system. Then maybe the offers start coming in, but they're way lower than you thought they'd be. And that can feel like a real punch to the gut. And finally, you land the job. But things just aren't moving. The career growth is painfully slow. This is not the fast track you signed up for. But here it is. This is the real kicker. You might look over at the next desk and see people with what you might consider, well, lesser qualifications, and they're getting promoted faster than you are. And that is probably the most confusing, frustrating part of this whole thing.
So what's going on? Here's the hard truth. Your degree is the key. It gets you in the door, no doubt. But once you're in that room, your growth, your actual career trajectory, that depends on a totally different set of skills.
To really get why this happens, we need to break down the two completely different worlds we're talking about, the one you just came from and the one you're trying to succeed in.
Okay, this table nails it. Everything you were just graded on, getting the exact right answer, your individual performance on an exam, just knowing stuff, that's the academic world. But the corporate world, it runs on a completely different operating system. It's all about practical solutions that work, collaborating with a team, and most importantly, creating actual, tangible value.
And that, right there, is the big disconnect. Your entire life, up to this point, has been about mastering that left column. But your career, your promotions, your salary, all of that is going to be decided by how well you can master the right column.
Okay, so if it's not just about your fancy new qualification, what are companies really looking for? What do they want to see?
You might walk into an interview thinking they care about your rank or how many attempts it took. But the person on the other side of the table, they're asking a totally different set of questions in their head. They're thinking, can this person solve my problems? Can they make my team better? Can they actually add value here? And because of this, you end up seeing this classic 80-20 split in almost every batch of new professionals. You have about 80% who have, average, steady, sometimes slow growth, but then you have this top 20% who just take off like a rocket.
Now, the most important thing to get here is that the difference is not intelligence. You are all brilliant. The real difference comes down to three things: awareness of what the corporate world actually rewards, preparation, as in building those practical skills, and positioning. This one is huge. It means you stop talking about the tasks you did and you start talking about the value you created. So instead of saying, I ran the weekly report, you say, I optimized the weekly report, saving 5 hours a week and giving the sales team critical data 2 days earlier. See the difference? That's positioning.
So how do you actually do this? How do you become part of that top 20%? It all boils down to one simple but powerful shift in your mindset.
You have to literally change the conversation you're having in your own head. You have to stop thinking, I passed this massive exam, so I deserve a great job. And you have to start thinking, okay, I have this amazing qualification. Now, how can I use it to create real value for this company? That one question changes the entire game.
So let's end on this thought. Your qualification got you to the starting line, which is an incredible achievement. But the race itself, it's won by becoming the most valuable person in the room. So the question to constantly ask yourself isn't what do I deserve, but what value can I create?